Hello and welcome to Call of the Wild, a WWF UK podcast. This is the place where we explore the wonderful world of nature, what it means to us, why it's good for us, and share those extra special moments of how it has shaped us. I'm your host, Cel Spellman, and this episode is brought to you by the John Lewis Partnership. Now, I'm very excited to introduce today's guest. He is a dear friend. He is a brilliant actor and also a great advocate for nature and the natural world. Please may I introduce and welcome onto Call of the Wild, Mr. Asa Butterfield. How are you, my mate?
Thank you, mate. It's a pleasure to be here. I feel like it's been a long time coming.
It does feel like it's been a long time coming, because I even remember I think, shared a campaign together with WWF when there was the wildfires across the Amazon.
Yeah.
Was this maybe 2019? I think it
was. This is a while back.
Yeah, and I feel that was the first time. Obviously, we'd been friends, but that's the first campaign that we shared. Because you've definitely always been very across and been an advocate and a voice for the natural world. Well, since I've known you, has it always been important to you?
Yeah, I think so. I think it comes from my mum and my dad. Growing up in London and having the sort of number of green spaces we do, which we feel really lucky to have.
Yeah,
I've always been out in the parks and digging through the soil. Like, I was a kid turning over the rocks and looking at the bugs, and I loved it. And like all of David Attenborough's documentaries growing up were just my sort of pinnacle of entertainment and escape. And that's something I've carried with me, I think, throughout my life.
Was there an early memory of you in nature that kind of, really struck you being like, this is something I feel very connected to and care about?
So when I was younger, my grandparents live in Yorkshire, like in the moors. It's a beautiful part of the country. And when we would take up sort of family trips to go and see them, I remember my cousin and I would always just be out. They've got a big garden, so we'd just be out in the garden making fires and making dens in the trees and building tree houses. And I think that innate want to just, everyone's like, might be having lunch inside, and they'd come outside and they'd shout our names to come and have lunch. Yeah. We wouldn't go in because we would just be having so much fun, like digging holes in the ground or climbing trees. And that for me, I think, is where it started.
Yeah.
I think it's that just want to be outside. I think especially living in a city, it feels like such an escape and something, even though we do have so much green space in London, you are still in a city. For sure. And you don't have the wildness that you have if you're in the forest, or if you're in Yorkshire, if you're in somewhere just that's a step outside of the noise and you know how it is.
Yeah, for sure. Like that complete wild, like you say. It's funny as well. I think David Attenborough actually talks about that. We all had it in us as a child, that curiosity and that passion and intrigue to go over and turn over that rock. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes just by getting back out in that space, it does open it like up in you again. I went for a little walk, maybe a couple weekends ago with a couple pals. And we were just like big kids again, like playing with sticks, trying to turn over these big logs and see how far you could kind of throw them. Just silly stuff. But it really was that like inner child in you. Yeah. And I always think that's important to try and like tap back into, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, it's the playfulness and the reminder that we're all sort of just a part of this thing.
Yeah.
And that's something which we are sort of, I think especially young people are losing touch with, because there's so many other ways to entertain us with our phones and our screens and TVs and movies. So it's really nice, as you say, to just remind yourself of that. Yeah. Even as an adult.
That's such a good point. That's something that I think is a big part when we're trying to find these solutions. The biggest thing is just people reconnecting to the natural world again, because we've become so disconnected.
Yeah. I think a big part of that's education as well. Yeah. And especially with like younger generations, I think we were one of the last that still had that. Yes, we had phones growing up, but when I was 7, 8, 9, 10, I didn't. And I was out playing in the grass or in the park. But kids, young people these days have so much more. My brother's a teacher, so he tells me a lot about this. They just go home and they go online. And so they don't have that. And whether that's because their parents aren't encouraging them, or the phone's so much easier and more accessible and it's a way to be social. But I think the more we can educate young people to be out in parks, be out in the woods, keep them connected with the natural world.
Yeah.
We need that because we're in such a crucial fight to keep what we have.
Yeah.
And if young people don't care about it, it will go.
Pass as these generations
Yeah.
go on. And I do believe if we give them that space or create the opportunity or have it a part of the curriculum or in just even the early years, but at least get it when they're young and you have got that thirst for knowledge and curiosity and this passion for everything. I think even just a few years in that time will stand you in such a good stead, even if you fall out of love for it a bit. Because I did. I mean, it was once hit year 7, year 8, and you know what it's like, then suddenly you're in secondary school and that's not cool anymore.
Yeah.
But it was in me. Yeah. And then I found it again when I was 15 and 16. And I think you're so right. I think we have to really try and keep it around and a part of young people's lives, even if it's just for a bit, you know?
Yeah. My brother, just going back to my brother, he does a forest school. And he's one of the sort of mentors there. So he'll take groups of kids from the school he works at to sort of Hackney Marshes or London Fields. And there are so many kids just don't get to do that so much. And it's just giving them, like, making that spark. Yeah. And making it sort of okay to be, just get grubby, like, get your hands dirty. It's like, that's fun. I wondered, obviously, we know how busy life and work can be, but is nature, Asa, something that you try and incorporate in your, not even day to day, but maybe week to week? Do you try and get out in nature as much as you can, or when time and work allows? Yeah, I think it's a mixture of, I mean, in the summer, I love just spending time in the park. Yeah. Like that's the easiest way to get out and get some fresh air and lie in the grass. I've been really getting into my gardening recently. My man. Which I bought gardening gloves a few weeks ago.
Well, there we are.
I've never felt more like
rock and roll,
like
baby.
Like a middle-aged dad. I was in the shop like, should I get the black ones or the brown ones? I was like, what? Who am I?
I'm being so proud of your purchase.
I love it. I love just, and I'm lucky enough to have a garden in London. And over the last, I sort of did it up last year and worked with a landscape, and we plant a lot of plants, and seeing how much it's grown and seeing it really like spring back into life in the spring and summer is so rewarding, and it's so peaceful, and seeing like all the bees come in and the birds. My garden's full of spiders. I'd sort of forgotten how much wildlife you can find just in a garden. Yeah. So when I was living in a flat, I had a balcony, but it's different when you've got a sort of green space like that. So I've been loving that. That's my little tranquil escape.
Little sanctuary, yeah.
Little sanctuary. And then when I can get out of London, whether it's going up to Yorkshire, as I said before, or this year I'm taking some road trips down to Cornwall and Devon just to kind of...
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Go and get that go get that Cornish air.
Exactly. Cornish air, the Cornish sea breeze.
I wondered off that, is there a favourite particular type of nature that like resonates with you or that you gravitate to? Is it the sea? For me, it is a forest.
I think it's the forest.
Is it a
for me as well.
You? Yeah.
And I think that's because it's what I've spent most time in. Mm-hmm. And it captures that sort of slightly fantastical magic of a kid when it's sort of like, whether it's like Lord of the Rings or wherever it is, you can feel that in the forest. I remember the first time I went to the Forest of Dean, and it was like, it blew me away. Yeah. And that's where Tolkien was inspired to write Lord of the Rings, just because of like the roots and everything. It's such a cool place. Yeah. Yeah, the noise, the sort of quiet, and
there is you can see how Tolkien would be inspired by a place like that, because I don't know, when you do stand in an ancient woodland, and if you're just quiet, there's a different energy that sits in there than anywhere else, you know. And the minute you kind of enter it,
and it's a quiet, but there is a noise of like the trees themselves, and they sort of the creak and the. You just can't really find that.
You just have to go do it.
You just have to go do it.
And that's what we're saying, man. Yeah. Just go out and get yourself in an ancient woodland. Go hug a few trees. Yeah. Get your toes out. Bob's your uncle.
And what I find when I'm doing that is it makes me it's amazing to be connected with nature, but it's also helps me forget about anything I'm dealing with and the stress I have inside me. And I think realizing that's why I probably liked it when I was a kid, but I just didn't realize that's what it was doing.
What's the reason why? Yeah.
But now I'm on, I'm like, I'm anxious and I'm stressed, and this is my my way of letting all of that go.
For sure, it's an antidote.
Yeah.
Very similarly, and a friend of yours as well, Harris Dickinson, who was on this series a couple of episodes ago, similarly spoke about how important it is for him to get that time in nature just to kind of reset and be still for a moment.
Totally. It just puts everything in perspective as well, I think.
And then nice to be reminded of that thing of it's so much bigger in it than everything else going on.
Yeah.
How important is it for you that it's an accessible place for anyone and everyone here in the UK and, well, around the world really, but here in the UK, because it is limited for some people in certain places. I think it's a big area of the conversation that kind of needs a shift a little bit.
I mean, I think it's vital. I think it's vital now. I think it's going to be vital for the future, for people's well-being, for people's mental health, people's physical health, and for young people to stay engaged and inspired by nature is so critical.
For sure.
Going forward.
Beautiful stuff, Asa. Now, for us at WWF UK, we all have a part to play in helping restore nature, but it's not just down to us. Brands and big companies have their part to play too. So today, we're going to hear from the John Lewis Partnership about their work in restoring nature. They've been working with WWF on a project in Norfolk, helping to connect communities with nature, restore biodiversity, and work with local farming communities to introduce nature-friendly farming techniques. The John Lewis Partnership is also working with WWF abroad too, helping restore water quality in river systems in India. Jason Tarry is chairman of the John Lewis Partnership. He says that the values of the John Lewis Partnership to regenerate ecosystems where their supplies are based works well alongside WWF to create meaningful change.
The John Lewis Partnership is a co-owned, independent, purpose-driven organisation that comprises two main brands, Waitrose and John Lewis. Our founder of the partnership, John Speed and Lewis, was very passionate about the natural world, and that's figured very strongly through the history of the partnership. So where Speeden based himself was down on the Leckford estate, the Test Valley in Hampshire. It's a farm, and we're using that as a test bed to help inspire and lead our farming base to new and different farming techniques which help preserve nature and help with biodiversity and combat climate change as well. Because it helps the commitment that we've made through our Farming for Nature programme, which sets out that all of our UK farming base, over 2,000 farmers, convert to more sustainable farming practices in order to be able to meet net zero commitments by 2035. So it's very important for us that we have this sustainability of production. And then, of course, WWF, who have very similar objectives, where was the opportunity for us to look at our two footprints and businesses and do something special together? And I think there's probably two main examples I talk to. One of them here is in the UK, in Norfolk, which is an area of high agricultural production, but has its challenges around depletion of nature. And so what can we do to help restore nature, yet retain the ability to grow food, and also, reduce the impacts of climate change? So the challenge for every food business within the supply chain is the fact that food production is one of the things that contributes most to climate change outside of fossilised fuel. So there's a big responsibility on us for that, and we really love the fact that with the WWF we're helping connect communities there more closely to nature and to do something special together. So we're helping to restore some of the biodiversity, some of the water management in the area, and yet at the same time helping the farming base on a sort of county-wide basis build the skills and access the funds to be able to introduce regenerative and other sort of nature-friendly farming techniques. And then further afield in India, where we have our own sourcing operation that we can work directly with our manufacturers, we have a really nice project with WWF where We're looking at the river systems of Noyal and Bhavani. They're river systems that sustain agriculture in those areas, but they're subject to water depletion and also water pollution. So working with WWF, trying to restore some of the nature, some of the water quality, and remove invasive species, for example, in that region is, again, a really fantastic project that makes a real difference in an area of the world that really needs it and where we have a footprint. I'm really proud of the relationship we have with WWF because we share the same purpose, the same values, but we bring different assets to the relationship. And that's what's really exciting about it. I think what WWF stands for and what John Lewis Partnership stands for are very symbiotic, very close, and our brands very much complement each other in the work that we do, and the people that are in both businesses are very, very closely aligned.
Thank you so much to Jason Tarry from the John Lewis Partnership. It's always brilliant to see what can happen when two organisations like WWF and the John Lewis Partnership come together and make a difference for our planet and the natural world here locally and around the world. So, Asa, back to our conversation, brother. I mean, I know you've been away recently, but through work, which is such one of the gifts that we do get, I guess, from our job, is lucky to travel and see some amazing places in the world. And I don't think I've asked you this, but is there anywhere you've visited or had a chance to explore or even see that has left a lasting impression? Is there one or two that maybe stand out to you?
It's a good question. Some recent ones. I was just in Melbourne working.
Yes.
And I'd never been to Australia before. So I was in Victoria, which is the southern state, which is surprisingly sort of temperate and, well, actually cold. I was there in winter. I didn't know Australia got cold. It was bloody freezing.
Of course, classic.
Yeah, they don't tell you that.
You're going there for the heat. I know. Loads of shorts and vests.
Unbelievable. But they've got some beautiful geography and landscapes. And on a weekend, I rented a car and I drove down the Great Ocean Road, which is this really long highway, coastal highway they have, sort of winding through the cliffs. And that was stunning.
Wow.
And there's all these inlets with little beaches, really remote. And at the end of this drive, we got to this koala sanctuary, essentially, which is a track you can drive into the eucalyptus woods.
Ooh.
And if you're lucky, you'll just see koalas asleep up in these trees because they sleep all day. And we saw a bunch of them. And they're all just there, like, curled up in the trees. You go like, it's really cool.
Chilling there in the trees.
Chilling in the trees.
Wow.
So that was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I was in Sri Lanka as well this year, which I know you were at as well.
Yes.
And the coastline there and the jungles. I went on a safari. I actually got stranded.
This is so good.
I was in
this is so good.
I was on a safari, just like a evening, sort of few hour safari.
Yeah.
In the middle of Sri Lanka. In this park where they have elephants and a few leopards and all sorts of animals. And just as the sun starts to set, we're like, okay, let's get out because this is when the leopards are going to come out and hunting.
Don't want to be here at night.
No, you don't want to be here at night.
No.
Our Jeep breaks down. It's me, my mate, and our tour guide. And usually the tour guide would be like, okay, you know what, it's okay.
Yeah.
He was stressing out. He had no signal. He was trying to get on the satellite phone. No one was picking up. He'd popped the bonnet. Me and Kesh are just sort of giggling nervously to ourselves. And he's like, shh, don't make any noise because you don't want the elephants to come. Because there's people there, they're really dangerous. You don't want an elephant to... without a way to get out of there. Thank God... About half an hour passes, which felt like a long half an hour. The sun's like winking out of existence, and we hear another safari truck sort of over there through the bushland, and our tour guide disappears through the shrubbery. At one point, I was like, I might never see this guy again. But he finds the Jeep. They come around. They tow us with a tow cable
and take
us out of there.
Thankfully.
Thank God.
But you just don't need it. That's the bit that kills me, is seeing the tour guide panic. Because they're the ones that can keep you calm.
Yeah.
When he's sweating, you go, okay, this isn't cool.
Yeah.
And then just being, and that's the reminder, isn't it, as well? That the reminder of, it's amazing, but nature and the wild, we have got no chance against it, really. when it's all said
We're
and
helpless.
done.
Really.
Yeah, we're absolutely out.
So we're all talk. But we get there like,
Yeah, I'll be fine.
our phones don't have any signal. What are we?
The elephant. Shh.
Yeah,
Oh man, that's so good. I'm so glad you've told that story. Recently for me, which was, I went to Yosemite.
Oh, cool.
Yosemite National Park, and honestly, my eyes couldn't fully comprehend it. Mate, the redwood trees. I've never seen trees so big, man. And that's humbling in itself. And just that reminder again of, gosh, this has all been going on so much longer before we were here, and it's going to carry on going whether we're here or not, you know. But Yosemite National Park,
Wow.
that took my breath away. Yosemite. When filming, and so there when you said Melbourne, will you use that then to maybe like step out of the job, or a little bit of a de-stress, or just to get those moments, try and get out in nature when you are working as well?
Yeah, I think it's partially that. I think it's also because we get to go to these amazing places with our work.
Yeah.
But we're often so busy that we don't actually get to engage with where we are outside of where we're working and where we're staying. And so it was also, I feel like, a chance for me to actually feel like I'm taking myself out to feel what it's like in this place in Australia, and be a bit more independent in that regard.
Yeah, go and explore that.
Let's go.
Yeah, make that time. I know you've also spoken about is around the whaling industry and whaling bans. Why is it that you feel so passionate to that?
I mean, I think the fishing and meat industry as a whole has got a lot. It's pretty. There's a lot of work that needs to be done
For sure.
One of the reasons I'm so passionate about it is because there's a real tipping point, particularly in Iceland. In fact, this year, a few months ago, they announced that it's the first year that Iceland aren't going to do any whaling.
Really?
So all of this outcry and response and attention on social media from young people in Iceland and people talking about it has made an actual difference.
Whoa.
So there are hundreds of fin whales, particularly, which aren't going to be killed this year, which is amazing.
Amazing.
Because whales are, I mean, they're amazing creatures. They're so smart. They have different languages depending where they are and like in the world. They provide so much food and sustenance for not just themselves, but all the animals in the ecosystem. But the tipping point with Iceland, I think, is hopefully going to be the first domino that starts to move
Make
the needle.
The rest of them fall.
Yeah.
And you need those little small wins to show
to show the public that their voice. Sometimes you sign these petitions, you do these things, and you don't always think like, has this actually made a difference?
Yeah.
But it is.
Yes.
And so having that as being proof, like this is working, we can keep doing this, is huge.
It's massive. I've never asked you this question. I've been saving a couple that I've wanted to
Cool.
wait to ask you. So the first one is your favourite animal. Always tough.
It is tough. I've got two that I go back and forth between.
That's fine. We'll have the two.
A leopard.
Nice.
I've always loved cats growing up, and I remember I was on a safari in Kenya, and the first time I saw a leopard, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, man.
That's a cool animal.
That is a very, very cool
It's
animal.
just like solo, does its thing, so strong. It's like, man, seeing one just like relaxed up in a tree.
Oh,
the king.
Wow.
Yeah. Lions are cool as well, but I think there's something particularly cool about a leopard.
Yeah, and it's quite elegant in a way, leopards.
Yeah.
I mean, smooth.
Yeah, they're smooth.
Yeah. Okay, leopard. What
Leopard, or some sort of bird of prey. I think sparrowhawks are pretty amazing.
Nice.
Yeah. Or an owl.
Yeah.
And I've said three things here.
No, that's all right though. I feel like it's when someone
Owl.
goes,
Do you know what's so amazing about owls? I saw a video recently, and there was a mic, and they had all this. There was this birdman. What do people who look after birds called?
We'll go with that.
But this birdman,
Twitchers.
and all of these birds, and he would get them to fly across this room. It's a big warehouse across this room over a mic. And you have like a falcon, and then you had like a pigeon, and then you had a goshawk, and then you had an owl. All the birds would make this as they fluttered over. And the pigeon was like, and then an owl went, and it was. silent.
No way.
Doesn't make a sound when it's flying.
No way.
Insane.
Now that is cool.
How cool is that? And that's how they're such good hunters. They hunt at night, and you can't see anything because it's dark. You can't hear them.
You're not even hearing them come in.
Just
no way. Yeah. What cool. Gosh, the way you set that there as well. All the like, that is mad. Check it out. Okay, I will.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Didn't know that. The next part of that, but you kind of answered it there, would be like a favourite animal encounter. Would it be the leopard in the tree on the safari?
I had some amazing animal encounters on that safari. I mean, I feel like that's probably the closest I've come to like real wild. I mean, I know it's still a safari, but seeing a lion.
Yeah.
We saw a pride of lions eating an elephant that had died from I'm not sure what old age or drought, I think, and that was like, it felt like I was in planet Earth.
Yeah.
I was like,
front row seat.
Yeah, with my binoculars, and I was like, I don't even need these; they're just there. That was pretty spectacular. Yeah. Saw a camel for the first time about 3 weeks ago. I was in Morocco, and I'd never seen a camel before in real life. They're pretty cool. They're pretty cool creatures.
Yeah, man.
They're huge and they're friendly.
Are they friendly?
Yeah. Well,
nice.
It was baby ones. I didn't go up to the adult ones because I felt like they might.
Yeah, you don't want to push the button.
You don't push the button too much. But the baby ones would come up and they were like, you give them a scratch in the chin. They're like a dog, like a dog horse.
Okay,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Also, I think any animal that that can endure real extreme kind of parts of nature. I mean, the way that they can. It's only them really that could carry you across a desert for however long, I always have a little nod of the hat. I'm like, nah, respect.
Yeah,
you do what no one else can do.
And carrying all the bags and people.
Although I remember a friend saying that they can bad breath. Remember someone telling me about bad breath with camels? Yeah,
that wouldn't surprise me.
You don't want to get too close.
You don't want to get too. Yeah, and they're spitters as well. They spit on you.
Yeah, that's why you stay away from
you see videos of them eating cactus, like the real cactus with big spikes on them.
Really, they can just go out.
And because they got really hard mouths, I guess.
Solid.
Yeah, and you see them munch, they're like, oh yeah, this is great.
This bit of but I didn't know you'd done safari in Kenya. I was lucky enough to do that, and same. And I remember one of the ones that stands out for me. I mean, any of the encounters with elephants was really magical for me because I flipped between either elephant or dolphin. I think it's my favourite animals. But I remember we watched one morning at sunrise was a pack of lions hunt a buffalo, and what's interesting is it's the female lions. They're the ones that will try and tire it out and chase, but they need the males for the strength to actually bring it down. And it was funny, the male that morning just didn't fancy it. So these females kept getting it and latching on and were like, as it's still running, hanging on for dear life, waiting for the male to come get involved, and he just didn't have it. So then after about 20 minutes, obviously then they were shattered and off it went. But just watching that play out across the Mara, unbelievable. And you was waiting, I was like, come on mate, this is the cherry on the top now. He's just come in and sealed the deal.
And he's just there licking his paws.
Yeah, mate, he honestly was just was watching them and was just chilling in the background, you know what I mean? We'd have a little stop.
Typical.
That was a pretty cool. Is there any animal you'd like to see? Is the one you've not seen that is on the list?
Bear.
Nice.
Never seen a bear or a moose. Big boy moose.
Big old moose.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
They're pretty whoa. Seeing videos of them run through 6 feet of snow and they're running through it like it's nothing.
Chilling.
Yeah.
Got some big antlers on them.
They're huge.
Yeah, nice.
They're pretty mystical. But going back to Kenya, first time I saw a giraffe in real life was also like, how?
Yeah.
How has that happened? They're insane creatures.
They are so graceful. I think there's something so beautiful about giraffes.
They're pretty insane.
Mad.
That those
even though I know it sounds so sick, but how big their eyelashes are. You've got these huge eyes and massive eyes.
Yeah.
Just look beautiful. I think it's my mum's favourite is a giraffe,
They're pretty amazing creatures.
Yeah, giraffes. Hey, so we could genuinely, I knew this would happen. I could end up sitting here for hours. Obviously, we always want to find bits of hope and kind of solutions. I wondered if you could solve any problem. If I could give you like one wish now, like a click of your fingers, it would just, boom, it would be sorted out. Quite a big question.
That is a big question.
It's a big question, but yeah, is there anything in particular for you?
I mean, there's a lot of big answers here, but I think if I went specific, I mean, this is still quite a big answer. Deforestation, I think, is so rampant around the world, particularly in the Amazon. And seeing those videos of like an orangutan standing up to this digger that's there, like standing its ground because they know it knows what's happening. It's smart enough to know what this digger's doing. Yeah. It's seen what it does. That is, and just the role that forests play in our planet, for sure. And what we were talking about, green spaces, and for us, that's what I'd solve. Yeah.
Beautiful stuff, man. Well, we'll get there, hopefully.
I hope so.
Asa, I love you, mate. And thank you so much for your time. And
thank you for this.
Genuine, I really enjoyed all those answers and getting to dig into that with you. So thank you, brother.
Thanks, bro.
Right. There we have it. That's it for this episode, brought to you in association with our friends at the John Lewis Partnership. Thank you to Jason Tarry, and a massive wholehearted thank you to my dear friend Asa Butterfield for his time and beautiful conversation. Now, if you'd like to find out more about how you can get more connected to nature, it's very simple. Just search online for WWF Prescription for Nature. Call of the Wild is a fresh air production for WWF. Follow now for free so that you don't miss an episode. The Wild is calling. It's time to act.